What is up, Retromaniacs? Welcome to Retro Card Chat Podcast. I am Mike from Mike's Retro Trading Cards, and I'm joined by two men that still don't beat me at golf. They are Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, guys?
Great.
The real question is, did I at least beat EP?
Yeah, you never told us the scores.
Okay.
I never added them up. All I know is I won Joe a second and you were not.
Wait, no. Get out of here with this crap.
Oh,
Well,
come
no.
on.
I didn't. Going into the last hole, I was up by 5 strokes. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So,
And I think you gained a couple more on that hole.
Yeah, we were being very generous with your like double pars too, or whatever. So I don't want to hear your bitching.
The real story of the day was we all survived. You know,
It was touch and go there for
three big guys playing golf in 95-degree humid weather. You know, maybe not our best decision.
In like the hottest part of the day too, like when the sun's out at its hottest. Yeah,
middle of the afternoon.
Let's golf at 1:30.
That cold beer was phenomenal
so
at the turn. It just went down super smooth.
So, as a number of our viewers may know, I had a gigantic stack sale called Retromania, but I've heard a rumor that the two of you also have stack sales.
A drop in the ocean to Retromania. But EP and I have been well, I started last night.
Yep.
Hashtag the other guy stacks, because we are the other guys. Throw up the picture of Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. But I started last night, mostly football, some Marvel mixed in, and then EP is tonight. EP?
Yep, definitely doing baseball tonight. Yep.
All right,
Nice.
good.
What do you have? What do you have picked out? What kind of stuff?
Lots and lots of baseball. A bunch of stuff from the 90s, like early to mid 90s to late 90s. Then some stuff from like 2009 through like 2013 ish. And then I got a few like 2020 and 2021 stuff cards in there. So got some pretty good variety. Everything's going to be 50 cents to $1 tonight. So I going to start with the low end stuff.
That should be popular.
Yeah,
People
that's
love 50-cent cards.
Yeah, that's what I started with last night. Most of mine are probably going to be 50 cents to $1. I don't see me going above that for much of anything. But lots of 90s football for me. I put up everything, pretty much every stack. Something got claimed, except for the one where I had ultra modern cards. Nothing.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, and they weren't great cards, but it was like, you know, you had like some cracked ice draft pick cards from Prism from last year for Patrick Mahomes in his Texas Tech uniform for $1.
I saw a couple of those.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you can't sell them. You know?
Right. You soaked up all the money, man.
Well,
you soaked up all the money.
Joe, I retweeted your Marvel Series 1 this morning because I was shocked nobody bought any of those for $1. Like last night anyway. Like I don't know if there's anybody bought today, but
actually, someone claimed the whole thing. We made a deal. Through
great.
DM,
Nice.
So someone claimed the whole thing.
Excellent. That's great.
So they got an even better deal, but they're a repeat buyer from just them talking to me on DM. I had sold them Marvel cards in the past, so I gave them a better deal than I probably would have normally. You know,
nice, very nice,
great. All right, well, we're going to talk about cards again. We try to do that every week. We do. Sometimes we do it, sometimes not so good. But going to start off, there was a new Michael Rubin interview with Colin Cowherd, who, you know, he's Colin Cowherd, whatever. But really, the interviewer is not as important as the interviewee. He didn't break a lot of new ground, you know, said a lot of the same stuff. But I have a couple bullet points here of things that he said during the interview. One of the big things out of it, and huge ovation from me, is he talked about how much collectors hate redemption cards. And, you know, Colin Cowherd asked him if there was something like that when he bought it that he was surprised about, and that was what he mentioned for his answer. He came out and he said, yeah, I found out that like the collectors absolutely hate redemption cards and we have to do better. So like I'm anticipating, hopefully, that in the future when they take over, that maybe redemption cards will pretty much be a thing of the past.
Go ahead, EP. Sorry,
but I mean, the thing is, if that goes away, then what? They're just not going to put any autographs in the cards or any autographs in the.
No, his point was people want autographs. If you're going
to
say you're giving them an autograph, give them an autograph, not a redemption card. So,
and I'm sorry, the athletes get paid enough money that it shouldn't be that hard to track them down for a day or two and get autographs. You know, I think I mentioned it a few pods ago, you know, the whole, well, because of COVID, we have to do stickers, or because of COVID, we have to, you know, we have to send them the cards and then they send them back to us. Well, we're kind of out of COVID. And unless you're worried about monkeypox, you know, going to an NFL facility, I think maybe you can now start going back to how it used to be, where you would go and get players to actually sign cards and you actually witness them signing.
Everybody's there.
Everybody's there. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I'm watching Hard Knocks. I see them. They're all there. Go now. Get those Detroit Lions autos.
Yeah,
and Fanatics has a better relationship with the players and like the players union and stuff too, right? That should lead to better, more autographs being signed, I think, as well.
You would hope. Yeah. They definitely want to create a system. I know he said before where they, all share in the revenue of stuff, including the players union. So we've talked about that before. Hopefully gives them a little more incentive. This is stuff that the other companies could have done, and they just really haven't. We talked about this before, and Rubin brought it up again about the lack of marketing and stuff. He was really surprised how this industry, the companies in it, just kind of, went about their day to day, never changed anything, never tried anything new, never tried to promote the product anyway. I've seen a couple people on Twitter, with the wrestling cards saying, "Oh, look, Panini had a commercial during Raw." It's really? You're going to give them, you're going to act like that's exciting after all this time. You're watching the program that the cards are about, and they're giving that. That is the lowest hanging fruit for advertising I think there is. But yeah, he talked a lot about that, and how he's going to change that, which I'm really interested to see how that plays out. But one of the other points he brought up in that is the innovation. He said they really need to innovate. I think his words were they need to innovate, market, and take care of the collector. So I was happy to hear the word innovation now, coming from him and them being a gigantic tech company with their online sales. I'm not really sure that necessarily means innovation in cards, but maybe the way they sell them and stuff.
That's how I took it too. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just making it easier for the collector to buy cards versus, Dutch auctions and whatever Panini's doing. Real quick on the redemptions thing, just so people don't think we're constantly just shitting on Panini. Redemptions have been a thing in the hobby since the mid to late 90s. It just hasn't been this bad. I mean, it feels like every major star is a redemption, especially those first few products that come out. And it's getting to the point too now where you're worried about getting them. The only redemptions people like, ironically, are the XRC redemptions, which are not redemptions this year. But in terms of innovation, I think because they're going to have Topps IP, I don't think they're going to really change too much there. And, I called out Panini for it. I'd call out Fanatics for it too. If you're going to take over some IP, that's great, but you should have, new products. Panini hardly ever does. They have playoff specific, score products as their own. So, sure, we want Topps Finest, we want Topps Chrome, but maybe come out with something new and good that the collectors would actually enjoy.
Yeah, he also, he mentioned again about wanting to become a one-stop shop, and there was a new twist to it too. Apparently they're looking to get into sports betting as well. He's mentioned a couple times, envisioning you, EP, sitting there watching a baseball game, and somebody does something, and you're like, you know what? I need some of that guy. And you go on your phone quick and you can place a bet for it, and you can buy a trading card, and you can buy the NFT of the card and get it automatically delivered to you. I know, but I really think that NFTs are going to be a big part of their company going forward. He specifically called that out. Like, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to, have an NFT version of the card, every card you make. I don't know how difficult that would be, but go on, buy the card and get the NFT on your phone right away, and then the card comes in the mail a couple days later. I don't know.
But at that point, isn't it just taking a scan of the card? Maybe I'm old.
Well, you are. Yeah,
I am. But what's an NFT card? I mean, honest to God,
it's a picture.
It's a picture. It's like I just bought a big card. Could I have just like saved the picture of that card on my phone and say, look, I have an NFT of that card? I know that's not what an NFT is. Please do not comment below. But seriously, like, especially if they're going to then send you a physical card. So they took a scan of a card and then they're going to send you the physical card. What? Like, that makes 0 sense to me whatsoever.
I mean,
but again, I'm old.
The redemptions are now going to be, well, we couldn't get an autograph of this guy, so here's an NFT instead.
Maybe there's a picture of his autograph.
Yep.
Problem solved.
Right.
You might be onto something there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I guess I'm looking at it in reverse, but kind of we're feeling the same thing. I'm like, if I get an NFT, can I have the physical card of it too? Like, we are older. We're not into collecting pictures of cards. Just
right.
Sounds a little funny when you say it, doesn't it?
And generally, it's not like an NFT is not a picture of a physical card. It's just the NFT. I mean, there's nothing physical there. It's it's
a picture of what a card would look like.
What a card would look like.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, oh, that card's really cool. I can't actually hold it though, right? Oh, well, you can hold it on your phone. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think there's a portion of the country, that probably would rather have that than the actual card. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's some people that are kind of.
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know. I want a real card.
Yeah.
I want a real card.
At that point, you could just send all your cards to a vault, right? I like your physical cards. If you're more into NFTs, send them all to the vault. You have a picture of the scan on and you don't actually have the cards. I actually like to display the cards and look through them sometimes. I don't know. It's yeah.
So what collecting used to be about,
right?
You used to be able to flip through your binder pages and look at your cards. Now you have them all in pictures on your phone or in a vault. And
you're just scrolling through your phone album.
Things are a little different. I'm not judging. I'm just saying things are a little bit different than when I grew up.
Well, same. And what's kind of crazy is, I mean, card collecting has been the same since whenever the first card came out, whatever the first Honus Wagner came out, I don't know, but card collecting hasn't really changed. It's like the Seinfeld thing where George was like, toilet papers never change. It's always been the same. And then Jerry and Elaine say, well, what about double ply? What about, thicker rolls? Sure. Okay. I mean, it has changed a little bit, but card collecting has pretty much been the same since card collecting started. You get a card of a player, you keep that card, you trade that card, and it's a piece of cardboard that you can physically hold. There hasn't been, with the exception of a little innovation here and there hasn't been much difference in cards and how you collect cards. This would be a big difference. This would be a huge switch on how people collect cards. If NFTs become popular.
I think we can all thank Gary V and V Friends for the popularity of NFT, right?
Yeah. Pass.
Okay. Speaking of real cards, we're going to move it on a little bit here. News came out this week that PSA chose not to authenticate a Pele autograph that Leaf had in their packs of cards. I'm sorry, I should know the set. I forget what set it was in though. But yeah, Brian Gray, the CEO of Leaf, went to Twitter and said how they are absolutely real. They were signed in the presence of a representative, and that he was going to be calling PSA personally to talk to them about what the issue is here. But this is a pretty big story with a major company like PSA deciding not to authenticate an autograph that another trading card company says is authentic.
Mm-hmm. Well, considering they authenticated autographs that weren't actually autographs recently.
Yeah.
kind of funny that now they're taking this moral stand or whatever.
Kind of a little weird juxtaposition.
All right.
You think one caused the other? Do you think because of that, on the crap they caught?
Maybe the ineptitude caused it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't.
I mean, and I guess we're gonna do a conspiracy theory pod here this week, but I don't know. Like, trying to push down a small company that's saying these are real cards, these are real authenticate. You know, we watched Pele autograph these cards. I don't know. It's kind of makes me think, you know, maybe they don't want Leaf to do so well, and maybe this makes them look a little bad. And you know, but they did do the same thing as well with wasn't it Lionel Messi autographs from Panini? They didn't authenticate. Well, it turned out I think his mom signed those or something like. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of calls into question if PSA is not willing to authenticate these autographs from Leaf. It then calls into question other autographs from Leaf, which I do truly believe are authentic. But if you can't get them authenticated by the leading authenticator, would make me nervous if I had any money tied up in Leaf autographs.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you know, Brian Gray is a very, let's call him, outspoken member of the hobby, and you know, there's some good and some bad there, but I don't for a minute believe that they would knowingly put fake autographs in their product, and I don't think he would be that outspoken about it being real if it weren't. Like, in this case, I really do believe Leaf's side of the story. People are saying show pictures, maybe they should, I don't know. Like, is a little silly if they have somebody like that autographing cards and nobody taking picture or video of it. So I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. Now I'm talking myself out of it a little bit, but
well,
but I mean, they're a small company, and like, really their selling point is getting these autographs to put in their products. So I would hope,
and
that,
super quick redemption turnarounds, by the way.
I would really hope that they're legit with that stuff, because it's really the basis. Nobody is buying Leaf product for a base card. They're buying it for the autographs. And, you know, I think they found their niche with that. And I really don't think that they would like try to pull something on that.
Well, and then you've got, you know, PSA authenticated Dak Prescott rookie autographs that were auto penned. You know, Luka Doncic, his mom signed them, and they authenticated those. It's like, really, this is the line in the sand you're gonna draw on Leaf, who give us you know, you didn't ask Panini to show a video or a picture of Dak Prescott signing those autographs, did you? I mean, Luka didn't have any pictures of Luka signing these autographs. You didn't ask for that, did you? I mean, so I think it's a weird stand to take against a smaller company when they've just let stuff from Panini go through without a problem. And then we talked about the Topps, what is it? Topps Gallery, whatever that set was, that we talked about last week, that through the years. Yeah. They authenticated. So I don't know. It's a weird stand to take on this one company and this one card.
EP?
I have nothing else to say. I mean, I feel like I agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, Leaf, I feel like he wouldn't be fighting, like you said. And how horrible would it look for their company if they tried to pass off something like a fake Pele autograph of all the kinds of autographs? I mean, like, you know, he's like the soccer legend. So like, to try to have say, oh, well, just sign those, or, you know, and then we'll send them, or, you know, we'll just pack them in packs, or put them in packs. Like, I just don't.
Especially in social media. Especially in social media, it's like, how can you fake that? How can you just go out and say, oh yeah, he definitely signed these things, when if he didn't, you're gonna get called out. You're like, someone's gonna say, no, he did not sign those. So I don't understand.
Kind of funny you bring up social media too, because on the original Twitter post of the person who had the card rejected, like, this is where a lot of this went down, and Brian Gray had responded to that, and then Nat Turner actually responded to him, asking him if he had like proof that there were people there. And then Ken Golden got involved too and like put the popcorn emojis. I'm like, dude, he's the last person that really needs to interject himself into something like that. But look him
pretty
up,
soon BBCE is going to come in and start calling people out.
Yeah, I was waiting for Steve Hart to say, you know what, want me to authenticate?
Yeah, I'll authenticate those. Put that wrapper.
I do wonder what the process is as far as like the checking of the autographs and like what are they? Do they call into question every single autograph from everybody?
Apparently,
I guess they go.
I mean,
yeah, apparently not. Well, I mean, if it's a through the years, it's okay,
yeah, like I don't. It never makes any sense.
I mean, I think what it really goes to show is not an exact science. Like they can make errors and they're going to make errors. I'm absolutely 100% sure there are slabbed authenticated autographs that aren't real. And there are ones that were rejected that are. Like, you know, nobody signs their autograph exactly the same every time. I was
just going to bring up that point. Yeah.
Just it's somebody's best opinion, their informed opinion on the autograph they're looking at, comparing it to known copies of it. So, you know, if somebody signs something from a weird angle or something, maybe it's not authenticated, but you really got it. Like it's Pele, not exact. And the fact that we put so much weight into, like, you have to have something out there, I guess, to try to prove whether something's real or not. But like you can't let PSA be the final determiner of whether something's real or not.
Pele is 81 years old. I'm going to go out on a limb. I just looked it up. I didn't know that off the top of my head in case you're curious. He is 81 years old. There is no way his autograph has not changed from when he first scored a goal. I mean, you see it with older players all the time. You know, I'm sure Mickey Mantle's autograph has changed all the time. As people get older, their autographs, because of, you know, age, not so much changing it. But then there are, you look at Jamar Chase, he was signing his autographs, his cards in the earlier sets, Jamar Chase. Then he started signing them JC1 or whatever. Stuff changes. You know, Brady's autograph has changed through the years too. It's just, I just as a side story, I was refinancing our house when all the interest rates went down, and we had to sign documents, literally 20 pages of just signatures. And the woman kept yelling at me and Rob because our signatures were slightly changing. And that was in the span of 10 minutes because you're signing so much stuff. It's going to be different.
Maybe she should work for PSA.
She should work for PSA. She could really crack the whip on people not signing correctly. But like, yeah, it's just, it's crazy to me that you don't think that Pele's autograph might not be the same as it was 40 years ago.
And even now, like physical differences with older people, like I imagine, like I can't imagine being 80 years old and having to sit down. Like I wouldn't want to sign my name 100 times now. Yeah, you know, so like somebody at that advanced of an age, like there's probably going to be variations in their autograph. And I don't know, if you're an authenticator, how you determine, you know, what is allowable and what isn't.
There was I forget what card it was, but it was like a dual autograph of like some, you know, current player. It might have been like Aaron Judge or something, and then an older Yankee, might have been, I really don't know, but the autograph was so, like, you can tell a very old man signed that autograph, and it didn't look anything like it did 50 years ago when he first signed an autograph. So I don't know what Nat Turner's actual reasoning was, other than give us proof, which again, if you're going to say that to Brian Gray and Leaf, then you better be saying it to Panini and Topps and anyone who gets an autograph at any point, because it's just, at that point, it's just selective judgment, you know?
Do you think PSA will reconsider it?
Can they?
I don't know why they couldn't.
Like I could see them not wanting to look bad, you know. I could see them not wanting to backtrack. They
don't do it just because they don't want to look like they made a mistake when we all know they do.
When you have, you know, SGC's chair or president, whatever his title is, come out and say, we screwed up, we graded fake Pokemon cards, I'm going to tell you about it before the rest of the world finds out about it. This is what happened. I don't see that happening with PSA. I don't see that coming out and say, we made a mistake. This was not something we should have done. they just kind of keep things under the radar. So I could see them just being like, yeah, you guys are wrong unless we see photo evidence, which again, maybe they should take a picture. But
oh, definitely, yeah. Maybe they did. Like, I don't know. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on, we're going to talk a little bit. There was a card that sold this week. I don't know if anybody bid on it or not, but our old
if any of our listeners bid on this card.
I was talking about you guys. I thought the whole reason EP didn't spend a lot of money at the National was because he was saving up to bid on the SGC 9.5 Mickey Mantle.
I just missed out on it.
Oh,
yep.
12.49 was that your max bid?
Yep.
Well, the card did sell for $12.6 million.
Oh, was 12.6. So EP's was 12.59.
No, it was 12.49. I couldn't get to 12.5.
You couldn't go.
So yeah, I was out,
almost there, but couldn't quite get there. Yeah, like a new record for a baseball card sale. Like pretty impressive for the hop. Yeah. So
for any sale, yeah.
What do you think? Like, does this kind of stuff have any impact on the hobby in general, or is it just kind of, rich people playing with their toys?
I think it has a huge impact on like, I think I know that the 1952 Mantles, like, they're going to be coming out of the woodwork. People are going to be sending them, like, if anybody has any raw, they're going to be sending them everywhere to get them graded. There's going to be a lot more ones showing up.
You think they haven't already done that though?
I think a lot of raw Mantles that the National, didn't we? Wasn't there like a case of, I don't know if they were all 52s, but we saw a lot of older Mantles in cases.
Right. I'm not sure. There's probably not bazillions of them out there, but I'm sure there are still some raw ones out there, and people are going to be sending them in, and people are going to be like, dealers are going to be putting them in their cases, and they're going to be charging more for them now just because it's pretty much all around the Mantle. But I wonder if it also is good for like SGC. Like, I mean, they've got a bunch of really big cards.
Top three sales are SGC sales.
Very impressive. Yeah.
I agree with EP up to a point. So I agree that I disagree that they're going to just not come out of the woodwork, but I don't think there is this mass, like, I'm going to start putting Mantles in cases now. People are putting Mantles in cases regardless. I think, though, I do agree that any Mantle that was, say, $10,000 in someone's case is probably marked up to $15,000 now. I think they're they'll mark everything up, and that'll be the reason. Whatever price was on a Mantle before this is now going to be marked up after this.
You don't think there are people outside of the hobby who know that they have grandfather's cards upstairs and they go check it and they have that card?
That would have happened. I think that would have happened before the boom. Yeah, or at the boom, I should say. Like,
I mean, it's not like that card was a $10 card before it got graded. There were quite a few steps in between, what it was and being 12.6 million. So I don't know. I feel like people knew that card was valuable beforehand. So now it's just more valuable. Yeah. I mean, there might be some people that like looking at it and go, hey, maybe I had that when I was a kid, or grandpa had that or something. Yeah. But yeah, I don't personally see a lot of them coming out. I think they're already, the ones that should be graded probably have already been graded.
And to my, to the point I was making before, Mike and I, especially when the boom started, we started going through our cards. I feel a lot of people did that. So if there was, I know Pap had some cards, and they see the uptick in prices, I think at that point is when they went out and got the cards and looked for those Mantles. So I think those are pretty much out there, but I think the price on those will skyrocket, much like the airplane you can hear overhead.
Yeah, I heard that. I was hoping it wasn't crashing, although that would have made for great content on the podcast.
Best views ever. Most views ever.
I do think, though, that like just the overall press about this card is good for the hobby. Like maybe not Mantle specific, but people are like, oh, those baseball cards could be worth a lot of money, Yeah. So I think overall I don't think it has a huge impact on the hobby, but like it's good PR, so to speak. Gives people maybe thinking about cards again, going, oh, those could be valuable. Maybe they have something else they've had tucked away. You know, maybe people from the 90s might think, oh, my cards might be worth a ton of money now. And they might think they're rich and they'll sell them all on Facebook. But yeah, you were talking about cards being in holders. This card was in one of those gigantic, like, ones that are this big of the screw down holders. And I know Sports Card Radio, I watched the video he did about this. They were a little iffy about what the condition of the card might be because it was in a screw down, saying that's probably why they sent it to SGC. Like, I understand that cards can be damaged by screw downs. We've seen it before. They can be pressed down. They can be made a little bigger. Yeah, it happens.
I had 2 rejected from PSA.
It also, there are also a lot of them that were in screw downs that kind of stuff never happened to. Like in his video, he was talking about, you know, anecdotal evidence of people back in the 90s and 2000s who said that the cards can like even split inside of there. Like, I had a card shop for 14 years. I never saw that happen. Like, I didn't. Like, I don't. Maybe somebody somewhere that happened once, but that doesn't mean that every card that was in a screw down can have that happen. Like, I don't think there's anything nefarious about that card having been in that case and going to SGC to be graded instead of PSA. Like, you can safely keep cards in those screw downs. Like, it's not something just new now. Like, people should have known back then. Like, I knew as a dealer that you didn't over tighten the screws. You didn't want to squish the card. You just wanted to put it down till it held it in place. But, you know, like, everybody just assumes everything in a screw down is bad because it was in screw down. It's just not the case. And I really don't think SGC would slap a 9.5 grade on a card that was in one of those that might have been damaged just to say, oh, look at this card. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the size of the card is part of the SGC's grading process. Like, if it's if the wrong size, I'm sure that's part of like if it's the wrong size, they're not going to grade it. Like, they're, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
And I'm willing to bet almost every Mantle that's in a high grade was probably in one of those at some point. Like, come on, people. Like,
that was the top tier.
That was how it was done for a long time. Like 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Like, I wouldn't think that just because it was in one, there's anything wrong with it.
You know, so I had 2 Tiger Woods rookie cards that were like the hottest thing back in 2001, and I put them in screw downs. I got to be honest, I screwed them down tight. Like, I didn't know any better, and I sent them to PSA. They were rejected. I wouldn't be surprised if they were rejected at SGC too. I will say that, you know, Sports Card Radio, we do like him. Those guys do a lot of good stuff, but sometimes it almost feels like they're looking for the next big controversy so they can, you know, I don't want to call it
across to me,
right? Like, there's some clickbait potential there, but, you know, in terms of this card and people saying, oh, they probably sent it to SGC because of this, or maybe they sent it to SGC because the last 2 biggest sales were cards in SGC holders. I don't know. Just my guess. You know, like, we talked about this before. We talked about the National. We talked about in videos after the National. The 9.5 looked better than the PSA 10. And anyone who's kind of rolling their eyes at SGC, you know, have all these top graded cards. I mean, Chris Sewell actually did a really great video, the top 10 all-time sales for cards. He just put it up here the last couple of days after the sale. I mean, he brought up the Honus Wagner PSA 8 that was the one that was trimmed. People still consider that one of the greatest cards of all time and love it because of the story. But that was a trimmed card. Like, people don't really, like, they talk about it more as oh, this was Wayne Gretzky and he bought a trimmed card, but this looks so great. No one's talking about it like they should, that this is an altered card that sold for a lot of money. And it would have been nowhere near an 8 if it was graded as it should have been. So I don't know. Again, just some people just like to throw SGC under the bus, But as of now, the top 3 sales of any trading cards are in SGC slabs, which is pretty cool.
SGC made their name grading vintage, right? Like that's their jam. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And I would trust them with vintage cards over.
And you know, I've seen the Twitter, well, crack and resubmit the PSA thing. You know,
who would crack a 52 man?
Yeah, well, you need to understand. But what you need to understand is when people are buying cards like that, they're not like you. They're not buying the PSA 10 label. They're looking at the card.
Right.
There's a reason that card sold for so much. I saw it in person. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Like, it doesn't matter what the grade is on that. Like a PSA 10 could not look as nice as that. Like, we saw that. I would never pay the same amount of money for the PSA 10 that we saw there as the PSA 9.5. The the SGC 9.5. That's nicer looking card. People don't care what the label is. Like,
when you're in that type of money,
when you're spending that kind of money, like, you're going for the nicer card. You don't want the PSA 10 that's a little cockeyed, because there are people like me that could never unsee the fact that the card is cockeyed. I don't care if you have PSA 10 on it. If it's off-centered, if it's cockeyed, like, it's not a 10 to me. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for it. Like, especially these people, you're spending $12 million on a card. You're buying the card. You're not buying the label. It's just that simple.
If the Arizona Diamondbacks owner, though, he's the one that has the PSA 10 mantle. If he put that up for sale, how much do you think it would sell for? Would it sell for more than the 12.5 million? Would it sell for more than that?
I think it would. I think it would, just because it's the next evolution of that card, right? So the last, so if you think about it, if you look back, so the number 2 card is a Honus Wagner SGC 2. The number 3 card is a Honus Wagner SGC 3. It's below the SGC 2. And I'm not saying grading wise or whatever, it's just because it's sold later. I think if this card sold later, if it sold in a year and we're still in this kind of, I don't want to say bubble because things have come down, obviously, but if we're in this, especially the high end stuff, the next step is, it'll be a $15 million card. It will be, it will sell for more. Just like this SGC 9.5 sold again in a year, it would be more.
But it's not going to sell for like 50 million is what I mean. Like, it's not going to be, okay.
All right. No, I don't think so.
I mean, that kind of card always goes up. I mean, they're just not available. You have way more people who want to buy those than you have cards that are available. So, you know, the people that have that kind of money, when they decide to sell it, they know they're going to make profit on it. You're not going to lose $5 million on this card, because you aren't going to, those people that want it can't find it. And, you know, if you wait 5 years, they're just going to want it even more. So,
we should have pooled our money, guys. I'm telling you, we should have pooled our money.
If I would have known EP was that close,
I
would have kicked in just to get him up there. Yeah.
Speaking of pulling our money, EP, as a side note, have you found us a Tatis yet?
No, I haven't been looking. I haven't been.
That's your one assignment. You got.
No, my assignment right now is stack sale, but I will right after the stack sale.
Everybody watching this video stayed here this long waiting for you to tell us how the Fernando Tatis
is going.
Like I said, at least wait until the off season. So I'll monitor. I'll have some prices for you guys next week. But
we're gonna hold you to that.
We're not even close to buying level yet. So I'm not even worried about it.
All right.
We'll
listen to you.
Well, maybe by next year's national, we'll be ready to buy one.
Maybe.
Just wanted to throw out here. I don't know. Should we call it the national or should we call it the Midwest? I don't know. We're gonna be in Chicago in 2023.
Are we?
It's gonna. Well. I'm talking about the card show. What they call the National is going to be in Cleveland in 2024 and then back in Chicago the year after that. I mean, I'm not terribly disappointed. Cleveland is close enough for us to drive to. We talked about that before, but really, I mean, you can't move this show around a little bit. You're going to call it the National, and you can't even go more than a state or two over.
I'll tell you what, if I was a collector in California, my God, would I be pissed. Like,
They never get it out
they
there.
never get it out there. And it's like, there's some nice Western, Midwestern, a little further west than Midwestern, but like Colorado, put in Denver one year, throw it down in Texas. Dallas has a huge card show. Monthly, I think. Why don't you co-op that? Vegas,
Florida, like Orlando,
right? I mean, there are so many opportunities where there are big pockets of collectors and influencers and all these type of folks that I think would be great. I get that they want to keep it in Chicago every other year because I guess that's what they consistently do. But really, I mean, so 3 out of 4 years, it's going to be. Well, I guess 4 out of 5 years, whatever it is. I mean, it's been in Chicago every other year. It's whatever. And it's, by the way, not in Chicago. It's not in Chicago. It's in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah. It's not really Chicago.
So watch your back, everyone. It could be dangerous.
You get off the plane, you go to the hotel, you go to the convention center, you go back to the hotel, you go back to the convention center, you go home. Yeah. I mean, we're not disappointed about Cleveland. Like we talked about that before. I think Cleveland will be a fun place to have it, close enough for us to go to, even though it's a boring drive. If you forgot that I said it before, it is a boring drive from where we are in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I mean,
you'll stop at my house. We'll party that night, right? And then we'll head out the next Fireball 30. I mean, it'll be great. It'll be a good time.
And we will all be sorry as we're driving into Cleveland the next day. Yeah, but I'm glad it's a little closer that we can go again. I don't know if we'd ever get to Chicago. I don't like to fly personally. It's not a very long flight, but I don't want to fall out of the sky and die. So
safest mode of transportation.
No, it's not. I mean, if the engine blows in a plane, it's a little different than the engine blowing in your car. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah,
they have the East Coast National, right? I think it's in New York, and I wonder if this change to always being in the Midwest kind of boosts something like that East Coast National and makes it more of a destination for people.
I don't know. I mean, the Nationals kind of the thing. Although, I'm interested to see what happens when Fanatics takes over, because we talked about that before. They want to do, they want more card shows to take place, more Comic-Con type things, and make them a little more exciting and updated. And it'll be interesting if they decide to do something or help promote something different like that, what kind of impact it'll have on the National over time. Because, it's the same kind of show every year. Like, you can't really debate that. There's no difference. Like, you have a whole bunch of people, usually the same people, year after year after year, setting up, selling the same kind of stuff. They might have a couple new years worth of products, but like, it's just people selling cars. Like, there isn't a whole lot more to it. Yeah, you might have some of the bigger manufacturers throwing stuff out and getting people trampled and yelling and screaming and stuff. Right. Yeah,
or different autograph type things. Different folks coming for autograph signings and things.
But I'm excited to see. I would love to see a more Comic-Con type card show. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I will say real quick, it's you go past like some of like the we use them just to sit and take a rest, but the chairs that were set up with the stage, no one goes to stuff like that. No one goes to like panels or anything. Like, it's funny to watch. I would have
gone to the wrestling card panel, but I missed it. I didn't get there until after.
It's funny, you watch like Sports Card Investor do like the pack battle on the main stage, and you look at the crowd and there's like 5 people there, and they try and focus on those 5 people watching. It's not as exciting if Robert Downey Jr. isn't coming out, with the Iron Man mask or something, or Chris Hemsworth with the Thor hammer. I mean, or Jane Foster this past year, greatest movie ever made. But you don't have that. So it's hard to make it a Comic-Con type atmosphere, because you're right, Mike. It's a lot of the same things are going to happen.
They could do more with the people that they bring in to do signings, couldn't they? There would be an opportunity there to maybe have a stage with those people coming out to have an interview in front of people or something. Just do something.
Yeah, that's probably your best bet.
The same thing they've been doing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Do something, just change anything, and it's gonna make a big difference.
There's no difference in a card show now than when I first went to them, like in the 80s or early 90s.
Yes.
You don't, like, you walk in, everything is pretty much the same as it was back then. So
yeah.
All right, guys, good chat this week, and we'll be back next week. Take care, guys.
Adios.
See you, boys.